Hey guys, I'm Dov, and today I'm back with more Total War Warhammer 2 online action. Grimgor welcomes you once again as he battles the nasty, evil forces of chaos. So let's go ahead and jump to the army compositions. Of course, Grimgor Ironhide, the Black Orc himself, is going to be leading my army here. He's backed up by a unit of Black Orcs. Unfortunately, not the Immortals, but still, these guys will suffice. In terms of the rest of the army here, got two units of Orc Airboys who I've been digging quite a bit recently, as you guys may or may not know. The reason being is that they have solid AP values. 6 AP for a quote-unquote non-armor piercing missile unit makes them pretty decent. They don't have the best accuracy in the world when shooting at single model entities, definitely more noticeable, but they can still get some work done. They're also okay melee combatants. Not the best. Definitely poor defensive stats at only 14 defense and 30 armor, but 23 attack and 34 weapon strength. Pretty solid for a skirmisher unit. And the rest of the infantry composition, we've got two Biggins, a couple of meat shield gobos up front, and the two Regiment of Renown Night Goblins, the Warlord's Boys, with the Armor Sundering, and the Unbreakable 8-Peak Loonies with their Fanatics. You've also got the Arachnarok Queen here, who I think is a decent choice against Chaos. As long as you have the tools to deal with Shaggoths, then this Arachnarok Queen can be free to get some serious work done. To that effect, we've got the Broken Tusk Mob, Regiment of Renown Orc Boarboy Biggins, the armor-piercing anti-large option for the Greenskins, one of the only decent ones they have. 90 armor, okay-ish combat stats, at least for Boarboy Biggins. They also have this Encourage aura, which is always nice for the Greenskins. We've also got the obligatory firing squad here with Force Goblin Spider Rider Archers and Morgub's Mangy Marauders. Good stuff. For the Chaos Army here, we've got a very solid Chaos Army led by Kholek Suneater. Can't ever go wrong with Kholek. Also got a Deathcaster. Once again, solid pick. Two units of Chosen with Great Weapons form the rear line with a center line of Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons. We've also got 3 units of Marauders with Throwing Axes and 2 Chaos Poison Warhounds. So a very solid army. Let's go ahead and take a look at how things unfold here. So, obviously I've got my work cut out for me. We're going to somehow have to take down Kholek using a combination of Grimgor, the Airboys preferably. They have good AP values, so the idea here is that we can shoot at armored units, specifically Kholek. We can also use this Arachnarok Queen. I do have a Night Goblin Shaman here with Sneaky Stabbin' and Itchy Nuisance with the Sneaky Stealin' lore attribute to try and suck some Winter Magic away from my opponent. And yeah, we'll go ahead and see how the battle plays out here. Right off the bat, we're going to get a little bit of a skirmish phase developing as my opponent is trying to catch these skirmish cav here. Very well played. I'm just going to go ahead and countercharge here briefly because I have the support of the Orc Boarboy Biggins. This is actually a mistake that people commonly make. They're not actually large units. Hounds and Harpies, for that matter, are considered small size units. If I can grab their unit card here, you can tell the difference right here. It says entity and unit size. This is a unit of small entities, so they count as infantry for the sake of bonus versus infantry and bonus versus large. Most people think that hounds are large, but they are in fact not. But anyway, Kholek coming in here, also Fate of Buna being dropped on the Broken Tusk Mobs. They're pretty much down and out, but we're just shifting the entire formation this way to try and isolate Kholek on this side and maybe do a little bit of work here into the Marauders as well. Meanwhile, the Alpha Strike's going down on this side, the Arachnarok Queen just charging straight into these Chaos Warriors with Great Weapons here. We're also going to be summoning up a unit of Spiderlings here, as the Regiment of Renown Arachnarok Queen can do. And they're going to be just tying down the Chosen with Great Weapons here, keeping them from supporting that engagement. Meanwhile, in the main line here, we're just going to push these Gobos up and have them be the meat shields they're meant to be. I'm going to get them a little bit out of position, but honestly, for my opponent, if you were to just kind of spread out here and then charge the Goblins from all sides with the Marauder Horsemen, you could probably just take them out due to pure leadership. But you can see Kholek not wanting to take that fight head up with Grimgor. Grimgor and these Biggins going to be charging through, but that Wog is hitting these Black Orcs. The Warlord's Boys here also sundering the armor of the Chaos Warriors, so we're just going to pull these Biggins into the rear as a reserve. No reason to commit them at this point when we're winning this flank so decisively. Chosen with Great Weapons are going to get in here and do some great damage on these Black Orcs, but we should hopefully be able to support that engagement appropriately. Itchy Nuisance going down on this side as Kholek is going after the spider here. I wanted something to mitigate his combat stats a little bit, so he's down to only 34 attack. I mean, granted, the Arachnoid Queen only has 40 melee defense, but still, this will make it so that it may occasionally miss the melee attack. But still, Chosen with Great Weapons also fighting in here, distracting the attack animations of the spider, unfortunately. It is doing quite a bit of damage to them, but the spider is also taking quite a bit of damage in return, and not attacking Kholek like I want them to, unfortunately. Meanwhile, the Orc Biggins are fighting in here, but all this time is allowing my Orc Arrer boys to get into position and try and shoot. You can really see their accuracy issues more so when they're firing at a single model entity like this. You can see there they got a solid volley, but some of the other volleys, there's quite a few misses. When they're shooting at a unit of infantry and cavalry, it's not quite as noticeable how actually inaccurate they are, but their accuracy is much more noticeable when shooting at single model entities there. Meanwhile, you can see the Chosen on this side, Grimgor himself supporting his Black Orcs against these Chosen with Great Weapons. I mean, these Chosen with Great Weapons are no joke. They are the cream of the crop in terms of infantry in this game, but Grimgor just, you know, he does not care at all. And one thing, you know, Grimgor's okay. He's niche, I would certainly say, and he's not completely terrible. But one thing that I think would make Grimgor better is if you gave him more splash attack power. Like, he should just be cutting up like 2 or 3 of these Chosen at a time, even though they're Chosen with Great Weapons. Like, I just feel like he needs more splash attack power, and I'm not sure if that's just an increase in weapon strength, an increase to the number of splash attack targets he can actually make. But anyway, Itchy Nuisance going down here. You can see the Chaos Sorcerer is hunting my Night Goblin Shaman, which is unfortunate for me. The Night Goblin Shaman is no match for the Chaos Sorcerer. Chaos Sorcerers are actually some of the better casters in the game in terms of their combat stats. They have heavy armor, especially on this mount here, 90 armor on this guy and 42 attack, 40 defense. Super solid. He's definitely going to be getting the best of this Night Goblin Shaman. The Night Goblin Shaman dropped one last spell and then promptly decided to flee the roost and is going to get, ooh, beheaded. Wow. Great job, Sorcerer. I'm sure your Dark Gods are happy with you there. But anyway, you can see Kholek definitely taking the south end of this engagement, though. The Orc Arrer boys free to continue to fire in, and Kholek himself having to run away from that dragon. Grimgor following with the Wog. We summoned up some Spiderlings to try and block up Kholek, but it didn't quite work out how I wanted. That being said, this entire death ball of greenskins is going to just charge straight in. These Chaos Warriors get terrified, unsurprisingly, and at this point, Kholek is trying to get into these Orc Arrer boys. But there's just there's the spider here. Grimgor is also hot on his tails, and they're supported by a unit of Biggins here. A very good Lord of the Storm going to be going down here, catching out some of these spiders, and the whoa man, those Biggins too, taking the brunt of that. But at this point, Kholek's just isolated all the infantry for Chaos. For the most part, it's been dealt with. We do have a second push coming, especially with this unit of Chosen, with 42 unit models still remaining. But, oh man, the Fanatics are coming straight down the line here. Probably going to be doing a little bit of friendly fire, but they're also just ravaging through those units of Chosen and so on. So, ended up working out okay for me. It's hard to say exactly, but those units of Chosen are definitely taking some damage. This unit, I should say. And at this point, Chosen, of course, not being immune to psychology, are going to get terrified away by the spider. Spider's pushing Kholek around, and don't want to take that just straight up. But with the Fists of Gork and with some of the other buffs, we can definitely take that engagement. Unfortunately, as I try and turn around here, it's not going to be great. But Grimgor himself still getting in here, still perfectly healthy. I mean, I say perfectly healthy. He's taking a little bit of damage from fighting those Chosen. But we're going to use the Mangy Marauders here to just pin Kholek in place. Once again, we're firing in with what Orc Arrer boys are available. You can see a few wild missiles flying in there. But Grimgor himself is going to be the one to deal the final damage here. So we'll watch as he gets in there and starts to cut at Kholek's knees a little bit here. Kholek is definitely still a world beater, and even wounded as he is definitely still a force to be reckoned with. But at this point, we've got the Biggins here supporting Grimgor. Oh, did Grimgor just get tossed? I think he got tossed pretty good there, but he's good. He's getting back up. He's going to be helping to take down some of these Marauder Horsemen who just charged in here to interrupt. The Orc Arrer boys are still on station firing. Chosen with Great Weapons here. Probably going to finish off these very tattered Black Orcs in this late game situation, but the spider being used to tie down these Marauder Horsemen so they can't throw their axes. I would much rather be fighting in melee here than allowing them to throw their axes, but I do try and pull away here see if we can get away from that Deathcaster, but unfortunately we're not able to. I thought those Chosen might take that engagement, but it looks like the Spiderlings here kind of distracting a lot of the Chosen unit models, which then creates a less favorable engagement over on this side. You can see Marauder Horsemen trying to charge into the Orc Arrer boys there, and I missed it on this side of the battlefield, but you can see Grimgor triumphantly striding away from Kholek's body here on the battlefield. So Grimgor, unfortunately, I didn't quite catch it there at the end, but Grimgor did indeed strike the final blow against Kholek. So a very epic battle, very well played to Lightning Strikes, who's actually a follower of the channel and a tournament player, very good player. So he asked that I cast this game and kind of give my thoughts, and yeah, overall I would say it was a very close game. His list was very solid overall. We'll go over that in just a second. But for myself here, 37 kills on Grimgor. He took a lot of damage there in the end, but ended up finishing off Kholek, and just the world beater, man, did quite well supporting against those Chosen as well. The Meat Shield Gobos being the Meat Shields they're meant to be. Warlords Boys and 8 Peak Loonies did okay. This unit of Biggins, 86 kills and a Chevron, whereas the other unit didn't really pay out, but the Black Orcs definitely did, 60 kills and an XP Chevron. This unit of Orc Arrer Boys, only 15 kills, but some Chevronage going on. It's mostly from firing at Kholek. Broken Tusk Mob got taken out early on, and the mobile squad was kind of a non-factor. The Arachnarok Queen definitely helped carry some weight there, 62 kills coming against a lot of elite tier infantry, and the Spiderling summons, of course, being ultimately useful. For Lightning Strikes, Kholek's always a good choice. Can never go wrong with Kholek. 116 kills, just a world beater of worlds. He is a big target, though, so you have to kind of game plan for that your opponent is going to be aggressively trying to focus on Kholek Suneater, and you can even use that to your advantage sometimes in trying to draw the enemy into an unfavorable position or so on. Deathcaster, can never go wrong with him as well. Definitely like the pick of the Marauder Horsemen with throwing axes and the Chaos Poison Warhounds. Chosen with great weapons are very solid in this matchup as well. I mean, they'll beat down any and all greenskin infantry unsupported. The issue is when you come up against like WOG, or if they have the support of any other units nearby, you're going to start to have some issues there. Let's just go ahead and take a look at things briefly. The one thing I'd probably change about my opponent's list is the Warriors' great weapons. I mean, these guys are pretty decent. They'll beat down most greenskin infantry no problem, except for Black Orcs, but you really don't need the AP there, and I think that it's better to go with cheaper infantry so that you can maybe bring some elite tier cavalry in the Chaos Knights with lances. So what that might look like for me is I'll cut Foe Seeker on Kholek. I usually do, just because he's fast enough. The Vigor Refresh is nice, but we'll grab the Deathcaster as well, put him on the basic mount, and just grab Spirit Leech and Fate Abuna. And then the two Chosen with great weapons, pretty solid. We'll go with we'll get to the Chaos Knights in a minute here, but definitely the Marauders. I like the Hounds as well to kind of try and win that mobility engagement. And then from there, you can do a few different things. I would probably go ahead and grab some Chaff infantry. You're very likely going to be facing goblins and maybe some lower tier kind of chaff troops. At the very least, these guys can help screen out in the flank engagement, get rear charges, or at least meat shield the greenskins charge a little bit for the more expensive units. You're really going to get your AP from the Chosen with great weapons and Kholek here. This allows you a little bit more funds to either come in and grab like a unit of Dragon Ogres, or I would probably recommend a unit of Chaos Knights with lances. These guys are really good against the greenskins because they really don't have anything that can stand up to them. Orc Boar Boy Biggins do have anti-large armor piercing, but if we look at their stats here, just briefly, so like even the Broken Tusk Mob, who are the cream of the crop, you can see they're far superior. 30 more armor, 8 melee attack, 6 defense, and more leadership with the Encourage as well. So we'll go ahead and compare them. I mean, granted, they are 200 points less expensive, but just look at how much better these Chaos Knights with lances are across the board here. They've got more armor, significantly more armor, more health, slightly less leadership, but the speed is pretty comparable. They're slightly faster, much better sustained combat stats. 42 melee attack and 34 melee defense for a shock cavalry is really good. 46 weapon strength as well, which is a greater total. Let's go ahead and look at the AP spread, just out of curiosity. So 23 AP here with a 12 bonus versus large, and here we have 15 AP with with 31 base and no bonus versus large, so less AP overall, but because you have the better combat stats, they're going to be making more solid contact. Additionally, and this is probably the most important part of this entire engagement, is the charge bonus. So only a 50 charge bonus for Orc Boar Boy Biggins here, whereas Chaos Knights with Lances have an insane 80 charge bonus, which means if you get a clean charge with these Chaos Knights with Lances, they will destroy the Broken Tusk mob. Like, it's pretty one-sided considering how little of a cost differential there is there at the end of the day. But once you won the mobility engagement, and you can use these Hounds and the Marauder Horsemen to help screen out like Greenskin Skirmish Cav and so on, but you can then just cycle charge Greenskin Infantry to death with this unit of Chaos Knights. I mean, obviously you'll have to watch out for Biggins a little bit, but even then, Biggins don't have any kind of charge defense, and they don't have much armor either, so you can just charge them down. Same thing with a lot of the Savage Orc units, they have literally 0 armor. Biggins only have 50 armor, which isn't that much at the end of the day, so if you hit them with a clean charge with these Chaos Knights with Lances, they'll just annihilate them completely. So the only real critique for my opponent's list I would have is go ahead and cut down the great weapons just to chaff Marauders. That allows you to then spend the extra funds to upgrade this Chaos Knight. To upgrade, not really upgrade, but buy this Chaos Knights with Lances, I guess, and then use that to kind of rear charge and cycle charge. Your Marauders probably will lose out on some engagements, but the Chosen are really going to be what you try and carry the day there. And you know, you could even go and fine-tune some other things here, like if you were to cut standard die, you could maybe get one more unit, you know, maybe downgrade one of these to just regular Marauder Horsemen, then again you can afford another frontline Marauder. So there's some fine-tuning you could potentially do here, but I just think that the elite tier shock cavalry for any faction, this is kind of a rule of thumb for any faction when fighting the greenskins. They're not super great at dealing with elite tier heavy cavalry. I mean, obviously Fata Bina from Azag will delete a unit, but still then you have all this other stuff to deal with, so I definitely think that these guys are a very good pick in this matchup. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. I'm always curious to hear your feedback. I appreciate you watching very much. Thank you once again. And yeah, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button so every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thank you once again for watching, and we'll see you next time.